What's up, everybody? Welcome to Among the Fence. My name is Aaron. So far, I have gone over my 5 least favorite albums of the year and my top 10 favorite albums of the year. So I thought it was time for me to go over my 5 favorite EPs of the year, which is kind of an interesting list because I've only done a review on 6 EPs this year. So I'm basically just rearranging them and letting you know which ones were my favorite. And as always, this list is based entirely on my opinion. If there's an EP that is not on it doesn't mean I didn't like it. Chances are I probably just didn't get a chance to listen to it. And if there's something on here that, you find to be better, or you think that something is too low on the list, again, it's just my opinion on how much I enjoyed it. It's not an actual factual thing in saying that this music is actually better. It's just which one I enjoyed more, so keep that in mind. And if you enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a like, especially if you want to see more. It helps out so much with YouTube's algorithm. It keeps me in your recommended section on YouTube. And of course, if you want to subscribe and hit the bell notification, do that as well if you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos. And leave a comment below letting me know what your favorite EP was this year. But anyways, let's talk about some of these EPs. Coming in number 5 is Spiritbox's EP, The Fear of Fear. I loved how beautiful and graceful this EP is. The more aggressive, heavier moments are still pretty gentle. The mixture of these moments and the more catchy melodic songs are absolutely perfect. The EP flows really well too, thanks to the atmosphere in the mix, and I really enjoyed that they didn't place all of the heavy songs together and all of, the more chill songs together. Is pretty well spaced out. You basically had one, like every other song was going to be a little bit different. The cleaner tracks definitely have a more modern feel to them, which I liked a lot. I only really had an issue with the vocal effects on this. Courtney's vocals are just so fantastic, and I feel like when you put a vocal effect on it, it takes away from the rawness that her vocals bring to it, especially distorted or clean. It works pretty well with the theme though, and it just kind of fits the whole just overall sound of the album. It's just at times it made it sound a little bit too polished for me, but it was a minor complaint. I still gave this one a 4.3 out of 5. Coming at number 4 is the Callous Dowboys with their EP, God Smiles Upon the Callous Dowboys. This one might be a little controversial because I feel like this is going to be a lot of people's number 1 EP of the year. But I still enjoy this one, specifically for all the chaos it brought. I think it's a perfect follow-up to their last album, Celebrity Therapist. At times it was just a little bit too much for me personally. The synth kind of created a little bit too much unruliness, especially in like the final track. I don't know. It just made it to where I had a really hard time connecting with this album. Really, just really getting into it. It felt more like a confused listener than anything else. The first few songs were pretty sick though. I enjoyed it, like the heaviness and the post-emo like stuff that it brought. There's just so many different influences that they mixed really well together. The vocals were amazing. Even though I kind of struggled with this EP here and there, I still really acknowledge how great it is, how much talent went into it. And I still enjoyed it. I don't dislike this thing whatsoever. Obviously it's number 4 on my list, but I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5. Coming in number 3, we have Thegression Sessions, which is a EP project thing featuring Fit for Autopsy, The Art of Murder, and Malevolence. This EP is kind of weird because half of these songs are originals and the other half are covers, but I still really enjoyed it. Fit for Autopsy, being my favorite deathcore band, was fantastic. It was great hearing them do a cover of a At the Gates song, another one of my favorite death metal bands, and their new song, or I guess original song on the EP, Hellions, was great as well. The Artist Murder brought their own kind of style with their song Until There Is No More, and a solid cover of Hammer Smashed Face. Malevolence, the younger of the 3 bands and the one I'm most unfamiliar with, did a cover of Left Outside Alone by Anastasia, which is super out of left field compared to the other covers. It was alright. It was definitely my least favorite of the songs, and their original Waste of My Life was also kind of mid. Someone commented on my review of this EP, and they said it's best to know all the bands and like all the bands that are involved in a group project like this, because if you don't know one of the bands, you don't really know what to expect from them, and I don't know, you're kind of comparing them to the rest. Or if you dislike one of the bands, it makes it even worse because then you're only here to hear, Fit for an Autopsy or The Art is Murder. So there is a little bit of truth to that. I still enjoyed it. Malevolence just, I don't know, they felt like the odd man out. They weren't quite as heavy, weren't quite as aggressive. They're a little bit, I don't know, softer than the other two bands, which made them just sound really soft, I guess you could say. I might have liked this a little bit more if it was just Fit for Autopsy and The Art is Murder, but I still enjoyed it, and I gave this one a 4.7 out of 5. Coming in at second place, we have God Made Me an Animal, the EP from Better Lovers, formed by musicians from Every Time I Die, Will Putney from Fit for Autopsy, and Greg Puciato, the ex-vocalist for Dillinger Escape Plan. And I truly love this EP. This supergroup is a match made in heaven. The heavy riffs are absolutely amazing. The drums have their standout moments, and the clean vocals, I'm surprised I'm saying this, sounded fantastic. In fact, it made me desire more clean sections from this band. But, the few and far in between of them, it just made you, I don't know, it made it more special every time it popped up. The songwriting is fantastic. Will Putney is an amazing producer. So, of course, the production on this is going to be outstanding. Everything about this was great. I just hope we get an actual LP from this band this coming year, because this EP just made me want more of their songs, which is kind of interesting because a lot of times EPs, I'm like, okay, yeah, I see why this is an extended play. It's not a full album, but this one, I'm like, they could have easily turned out like 5 more songs, and it would have been fantastic. And I gave this one it was a perfect 5 out of 5 for me. And number 1, we have Texas in July with their EP, Without Reason. This is one of the most anticipated releases of the year. JTKV is one of my favorite vocalists of all time, and having Texas in July and Era in the same dimension is just it's just a dream come true. The riffs on this EP made me want to pick up my guitar and play around. The breakdowns made me want to flip my couch over. The lyrics are poetic, and there's just a lot of hints and foreshadowing to this being like a final goodbye. It's almost like they didn't get a good chance to really say goodbye when they broke up before. So they got back together for the fans. They released something that just sounds it's so much more modern. Like, it doesn't sound like them. It sounds like Texas in July if they've been around this entire time, and this is where 4 albums later, this is an EP that they would release. It doesn't sound like they haven't been a band together making music this entire time. I know that people in this band are still making music, but this doesn't sound like a band that stopped playing for an extended period of time. These guys, they're firing on all cylinders. I hope this isn't a final goodbye. I hope that they give us some more music. But at the same time, if it is, it's the chef's kiss. The closing track brings all the feels and the emotion of this kind of last hurrah. And it was an emotional listen. Every time I listen to it, I feel it. There's just so much enjoyment out of this EP, and so many just different things you can dissect from it. It's fantastic. I gave this one a 5 out of 5 as well. And that is it for my top 5 EP lists. Like I said before, leave a comment below letting me know what your favorite EPs are. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. If you want to help support me and my channel, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell icon. Doing any of that stuff helps me out tremendously. And I just thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to listen to me sit here and talk about music. And thank you so much for a great year. I reached 1,000 subscribers this year. I made it over 1,000 subscribers. I have like close to, 300 videos this year, something along the lines of that. I think it's actually closer to 200. I don't know. I don't really keep track of how many videos, but it's a lot. It's a lot of videos. We've been making good progress. I moved this year, went through a lot of different stuff, and a lot of you guys have been sticking with me since I've been around for the past 3 years. And this year, it's just, the growth is amazing. The support I've been getting from you guys is fantastic, and I appreciate it more than you guys could ever imagine. And I guess I'll talk to you guys next year. I was trying